Welcome to the first virtual Creative Futures graduation. Dan, how you doing? We usually do these at our very lovely friend's house, Bill Silver, up in the Hollywood Hills. And due to everything that's going on in the world, we're not here today. But yeah, we forge ahead. And look, the way that this kind of cohort came together, we were meant to launch this, I think, March 17, in person. Now we work in Culver City as usual. And I remember I went to Chicago because we had just done a partnership with an organization called Social Works, just in essence, if you're on, hello, how are you going? And they are a non-profit out in Chicago that works with youth around civic engagement, arts and education. And their co-founder, Justin, in essence, is Chance the Rapper. So we reached out to them and said, we've got this program out in LA where we, do this whole education thing, and we set mentors up with our fellows, and then we get, guaranteed paid internships at, really cool creative companies here in LA. And yeah, we just very quickly forged a relationship and offered a scholarship to them for someone from Social Works in Chicago to come to LA and kind of have this, life-changing experience where they were going to go to Lakers games, and they were going to intern at really cool production companies and meet all these different people, and it was just going to be this incredible experience. And Duncan and I flew out to Chicago, and we met the Social Works team, and we met Ray, who is the benefactor of the scholarship that we created with Social Works. And went out there, had a great time, shot some stuff for a documentary we were putting together on this. And I remember I got back to LA, I went to sleep, like a nap, not sleep at night. I like to have naps during the day. And woke up from my nap, and two major things had happened. One was Tom Hanks had got COVID in Australia, and two was so did Rudy Gobert, and the NBA cancelled their season. And that was like, okay, how are we going to react to this? And I think the important thing was, we work with people, the fellows that come through our program, they are people from disenfranchised communities. And a lot of people, either themselves or in their families, they are the people on the front lines, and they also come from the most vulnerable communities from a health standpoint or from a socioeconomic standpoint. So we just didn't feel that it was the best thing to do to push forward, even though we didn't have 10 fellows in our cohort, bringing them into a space like a WeWork, not so much for us, but just for them and their families. So yeah, we postponed, and in May of this year we decided, okay, let's forge ahead and let's do it on Zoom. And honestly, it's been one of the greatest things, and it's worked really well. We had a lot of doubters, but yeah, the fellows were loving it, and we had some great workshop leaders come in, and yeah, everything's gone swimmingly, and to the point where next year is going to be virtual only for Creative Futures. So with hardships comes opportunity, and I'm really glad that we did it. The way that we're going to operate today is we have a pretty big office space down here in downtown LA. We've invited some of our fellows to come and share their stories with you today. No guests, no friends. Just kind of us having conversations with you. So yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for supporting. I want to give us a few shout outs. Barnson Group for supporting us as usual, and our new supporter, Lyft, who has come on to provide free rides for our fellows. Usually that was meant to be for going to the futureships, going to internships, going to meetings, coming to the workshops. But again, all of that's kind of fallen by the wayside. However, a lot of our fellows don't have reliable transportation. So just stuff like being able to go to the grocery store and to get food and supplies for themselves and their families is really important. So Lyft still came on board. So big thank you for that. So with that, I want to invite our first fellow for you guys to meet today. Her name is Richie Raha. She's an incredible story. She's going to go on to do amazing things. Some of you on the call already know Richie, but yeah, I'd like to bring her in.
Hey. Hi, Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to stop being distracted. Hi, my name is Richie Raha, and I am ethnically Indian, but born and raised in Kuwait. And I moved from Dallas to LA to pursue acting, and Hollywood has been on my heart forever. I mean, for 6 years, but it feels like it's been a while. But well, we moved. My husband and I moved at a time when diversity was not really a thing, so I don't think we anticipated how things were going to turn out, and we lost everything, and we had to move into a car. We became homeless. We lived in our car for 2 years, and then we stumbled upon Giving Keys. That's a company that actually hires homeless people to make jewelry. So my husband and I got a job with them, and we aggressively saved up, and we were able to move into a studio apartment. And it's been only a year, a little over a year since we moved into our own apartment, and we are so happy that we finally crossed that path. But our goal is, we know that the story shouldn't go to waste, and we want to use it for the benefit of impacting others. So our goal is to be a voice for the underrepresented and be a part of those change makers at the table. Like, I want to be at that table of those change makers and invite all the other underrepresented voices to be at that table. So I feel like having a platform through acting would be a game changer for me. So that's what I'm thriving, and I mean, that's what I'm striving for. But here I am.
Thanks. Richie, you can still, I'm going to ask you the camera, ask you the question, but you can still look at that camera. What did you take away from this experience?
I think I took away a lot of things from Creative Futures, and I feel like through my mentors, to every one of you who's watching right now, you guys have opened doors that I never knew that even existed. And for 2 years in that car, and also being in this country as an immigrant, being a person of color, being a minority, we lacked resources, and we felt like we were always on the back bench, we were always outcast. And then when homelessness happened, we were like, this is the end of everything. And when everyone was like, go back where you came from, we were like, no, we didn't come this far to come this far, we need to make it. And you guys, like, every call that you guys had with me, every email was such, like, after every call, this is the thing that you guys wouldn't see. After every call, after every email, I would just put my phone down and I would just close my eyes and I would be so grateful for every word you have installed in me. And you guys have brought so much out of me. Like, I didn't realize that I would be wanting to do YouTube, and I'm looking at you, Dan. I didn't know I would be working on my small business idea, which is a social impact business, and still pursuing my acting at the same time, and also writing. And I'm like, who am I? How did I get here? And I know that, Jai, he opened the door, and you guys have been all like the catalyst of everything that's been happening this year. And I will never take this year for granted. Even though things are so bleak outside, I think I'm seeing the rainbow. I think I always saw the rainbow, and I'm just literally about to walk on top of it.
Amazing. And I know you kind of mentioned what you're striving for in the future, but yeah, like what is the change you want to see in the world?
I have 3 things on my heart that I'm really fighting for: homelessness, mental health, and minority actors breaking into Hollywood. These are all 3 things that I went through, and mental health is the biggest thing that I have to face. When I was living in my car, my husband and I almost contemplated twice to take our own lives, and then we were like, no, every day is a new day, let's keep going. And now that we've come out of it, and I realized that I have put so much of work into taking actions of how to get my mind to that space where I can make it out of it. So I know that if I can do it, and if there are people like me, there are people like me out there, that I'm not the only one. We just don't know who they are. So I want to be able to make that impact, and that's how I started the small social impact business. I'm launching next month. I'm catering towards artists and creatives because I feel like they're the most sensitive, and I feel like we're all broken artists, and I want to tell them that it is okay to be broken and you can get onto the other side, and I want to be there to be making an impact with them, alongside them.
Amazing. Thank you, Richie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so our next fellow is a wonderful young man. That's by the name of Van. We actually just found out last week that Van just took on a full-time job with Homeboy Industries, which yeah, I'll have you speak about it. Van's been incredible. We met him through the Anti-Racism Coalition, and one of the most insightful, intelligent, gentlest people you ever meet, and an asset to any company.
Van, we love you, Van.
But yeah, you know, just absolute legend. So Van, yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your story? We'll have you look at the camera.
Sure, yeah. So good afternoon all. My name is Van Nguyen. I'm 43 years old. I've been so many things. You know, first of all, I'm so proud to be part of this cohort fellow with Creative Futures. And I've been so many things in my life. I've been a refugee from war, a good son, an honor student, a bad son. I've been an inmate in a youth facility, and I've been a youth in a grown prison, adult prison. And the reason why I ended up there was because I ran away from everything that made me different. And so I found myself, and I was always creative, right? I was given awards in elementary school for being the best artist, and I never knew what that meant. Like, how could being an artist help me solve my problems, help my situation or my family or my community? And so because of that, that lack of understanding, I ended up in prison. And I was in a cell at the end of the road, really, in Pelican Bay State Prison in a security unit. And so while I was there, I told myself that that was my fate, that I was supposed to be there. And I adapted to say that life was good. 25 years in prison went by. I'm out here today, and looking back upon it, I was taught a very valuable lesson that day, or that time in prison, that I learned the valuable lesson of how powerful creativity is, that it could change and shape my reality, right? And I'm out here, and I've learned, this is more importantly, the lesson that I learned was that I couldn't have gone through prison. I wouldn't have made it out here if it were not for the support of my family and friends and strangers alike, really. But now that I'm out here, I am ready to embrace everything that made me different, my uniqueness that you guys have taught me here, right? That it's an asset, everything that I ran away from. I'm ready to embrace it, the power of creativity, to continue to fight, to give our youth a better chance to avoid prison. And for those youth that are grew up in the prison like myself, I want to give them a fair second chance, a true second chance, so that they can really find and realize their true potential as a human being of growth.
Amazing. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for sharing. What's something you took away from Creative Futures?
Wow, I don't think we have enough time for me to list everything. I just want to say that, you know, I'm in this space where I'm just fully supported by you guys. But to answer the question, I think the most important thing that you guys taught me is to engage, right? All of the ideas and the passion, everything that I feel is to, now I have the tools to engage, to put value and to embrace all of my assets. That's the first thing, to be aware and to really proceed with a conscious intention to help, right? Before, I didn't have that clarity to be able to affect change through my skills or talents. But because of you guys, I'm in a professional space, I'm prepared, I'm ready to engage any problem that I meet with being very organized and being very professional.
Tell us a little bit about your job, what you're doing at Homeboy.
So Homeboy Industries is my home, it's my second family. And so coming out really as a 16-year-old, because I came into prison when I was 16 years old, and I came out about a year and a half ago. So I'm a grown adult with grown expectations, and yet I still need so much nurturing and support. And so my family's providing that, but also Homeboy Industries, that they took me in, coming fresh out, not knowing anything really. And so after about a year and a half there, I was just recently offered a full-time position as staff working with government relations, specifically with local organizing committee. And so during this election season, I'm charged with civic engagement with our members and also members of the community. And so it is my job and my duty to really engage everybody, to inspire them, not just through my work, but in my personal life, because everything I do reflects upon my family and all of my supporters, including you guys.
Yeah, amazing. And yeah, like what's the way that you kind of want to pay it forward outside of that?
That is really the struggle that I'm going through now, is that I feel that I'm just so indebted, and I don't think my whole lifetime I can ever pay back for strangers. I mean, aside from my family and friends, strangers really helped to advocate for years, hard work, all this hard work to pass a bill that got me out, because I was sentenced to die in prison. So I never believed, I didn't think that I would ever get out, but here I am because of these strangers, all of the advocacy work. And so I feel so indebted that I feel like I have to take on all of these roles and these supporting to help all these organizations, right? I do envision in the future that I will not just find ways to help people, but also to secure really employment for myself, that I'm still trying to find myself, right? I never had the experience of being an adult to really have a job and to take care of myself. I mean, right now my family and all of the organizations are supporting me. You can imagine that doesn't feel good to me as a 43-year-old. So I'm just trying to do whatever that I feel I can't do. And not to say that it's 100% obligation, because I'm so satisfied and fulfilled by knowing that I can help others and I'm effective in my position right now.
Amazing. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Go enjoy yourself.
I mean, outside of this, I can't express the gratitude that I have.
I'm grateful to you.
That's my little sister right there, Rita.
Hey, Rita.
I'm sure I have a lot of friends out there.
Good to see you. All right. Next, we have Jordan Lisa Lewis. Incredible woman. Hey, Jordan.
Hi.
How you going?
Do I hold this like this?
Yes. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So yeah, I'm just going to stand here and ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
Awesome. So, Jordan Lisa, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, raised in California. I did grow up in the foster care system, but I'm extremely adaptable. Afterwards, I went to Brown State University. I dropped out 2 years later to pursue a career in dancing. I danced for 8 years until January. I decided I want to do something more on the creative side. I like to make butters and oils, as well as concoctions that make elements. I also like to host events, and I write poetry.
Amazing. Tell us something that you took away from this.
Oh, the savings. I think that stuck with me the most. The journaling, I remember a lot. I've been actually implementing that with the meditation into my life. And already I've been changing my diet too. So I'm like a little bit of each of everything I've been trying to actually implement into my life. So, I just make my time worth it. I actually take, something from this program and implement it into my life to make my life better.
Amazing. That's a goal.
That's our goal. I feel more well-rounded now that we're actually at the end of this. I think I'm a little unsure, but I felt like this is going to send me, catapult me to a more mature self. Yeah. And that's what I want.
Well, to be honest, the program really starts now. I mean, the program is over, but now it's like us out there looking for employment opportunities for each of you.
I feel like I'm definitely ready for sure. Yeah. Everything that I feared that I couldn't do, when you guys gave us the deliverable, we read, you guys sent the little, mock so we can see how it worked. Mm-hmm. I realized it was a lot easier than I thought. And so I'm like, oh, I'm ready to do this.
Absolutely. Also, you're always ready. Yeah, what does the future look like for you? What do you want to do?
In the near future, I do want to host my own art show, where it's basically decorated frames that attack the senses of your eyes, your sense of smell, and your sense of touch, and then frame it, and on the inside I want my poetry. So that'll be the frame. and the frames will either have, so say it'll be rose petals, and it'll be sand, or it'll be seashells, and you'll have that scent, and then I'll have my home, and it'll be art that you can actually keep into your house. And in the further future, I wanna, work with women who have been through sexual struggles in their life, or they've been with their husband, or they've been sex trafficked, and I wanna actually, help by giving them artistic therapy and a rehab place.
Yep.
A sanctuary in a sense.
And were you interested, I know we've got some people on the call maybe, but you're interested in kind of like assistant roles?
Yes, I love assisting and like hosting events and going to premieres and just getting stuff done. I'm very observant, I'm very OCD, and I just like things to be perfect. I want other people to win. And a lot of times people just need that little push and that support, and I feel like that's who I am.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Yeah. One thing, oh no, it's so hot in here. One thing that I didn't mention before, which I should have, because COVID obviously had a big hit on creative futures and set us in a different direction, which arguably I think is a better direction. But the other thing was George Floyd, and that was kind of a bit of a game changer for us as an organisation, because for the last 2 years we've been knocking on doors of any company that will listen to us and say, hey, like, we've got this amazing talent, amazing diverse talent looking for an opportunity. And this is not a handout, this is not a charity, these are people that are going to come in and like transform your, transform your organisation. You have the assets, and you just get getting, no, now's not the time, And then all of a sudden, the George Floyd thing happened, the phone starts ringing, and all of a sudden you've got these companies scrambling, trying to pretend, I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but we're yet to see. But one thing I want to mention, and I'm not going to name any names, but there was this huge, it was like every company was trying to outdo each other. What can we do on social media? What can we do in the press release? How much money can we donate? And it really sat with me in a funny way, a way I didn't really like, because the donation was the part that I didn't like, because you can throw as many tens or hundreds of millions of dollars as you want at organizations. The organizations need the funding. That's foundation. Forget that. But these communities need investment, and we were kind of talking to companies about like, hey, you want to make a real investment, you want to make a real systemic change, hire people, give people jobs. Like, if you don't want a disproportionate number of Black Americans dying because of this pandemic, because they don't have access to healthcare, they don't have access to good health services, and they live in food deserts, and all the stuff that adds up, and their jobs as frontline workers, like, give people good jobs. That unfortunately in this country, healthcare is tied to employment. So that was a big thing for us, but it's also opened a lot of opportunities, and a lot of great companies that have come forward to partner with us since then. And really, the opportunity, it's not about us, it's about our fellows. So we're really excited about seeing how serious corporate America becomes in this, because I think this is a real opportunity to make change and make that systemic, change. So next, I want to invite very friendly young man. This is Randall Watts. He is from Chicago. He's a scholarship benefactor, I guess. Our very first scholarship with Social Works, and he was out. I was out visiting him with Duncan when Tom Hanks got ill and the NBA cancelled. So Ray, you want to come and say hello, Ray?
Woo, Ray!
How you guys doing?
All right.
How you doing? How you doing, Mama?
Hey, baby.
Hey, everybody knows me as Randall, but everybody also knows me as Ray. I got that from a musical background. Stand-up comedy is something that I've been doing for a few years now. I've been using some of the stories that I've been through with some of my friends and family, and using those as inspiration, using those as positive messages. Because in my lifetime, I've been through a lot, and my family's been through a lot, my friends have been through a lot. We've been making it together in the city of Chicago. And I thought that I would use that for a positive message and just tell it on stage. So now, I'm officially a graduate of the Cohort, and I feel pretty awesome. This I've been on an amazing 12 weeks with this collective. They've taught me how to hone my skills and use my ability and try to find myself. And I think that what they're doing is amazing. And I think that what they're doing is setting up something for the future. And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Great. Tell us about your time out here in LA.
It's definitely been different. It's definitely been different. The transition from a city like Chicago to another city like LA, which is on both ends of the spectrum, has definitely been an experience in it itself. But I've kind of learned how to use everything that I've learned from my mom. She taught me everything that I know about living, be responsible, pay my rent. You better stock up on groceries. she made sure I learned everything, and I couldn't even be here without her. And using everything that my mom has taught me, and using everything that Justin has taught me, everything that social work has taught me, I've taken the initiative of learning how to do everything myself. And if they hadn't been there, I probably don't even know where I would be.
Ray, tell us about your stand-up comedy and what your future looks like in LA.
I think I'm gonna make it here in LA. I think I'm gonna do just fine. My stand-up comedy, it kind of varies. It's really from a personal side. I try not to tell too much, but I still try to keep it hilarious. And I think that with that, for me to be able to create the platform that I'm looking for, I have to be able to be versatile. And I want to be versatile. I want to be able to move from maybe a children's party to an adult club, an adult venue, something like that. But I have to be able to be versatile. And that's how you can really make it, like learn connections, build a network, build a brand. And I think I can do that in the future and even now.
Do you want to mention some of the people that or from companies you've connected with out there since being in LA?
I've connected with someone named Charlie from Spotify. I've done Spotify, CAA, which is Creative Arts Agency, UTA, United Talent Agency, Red Bull. They're really awesome. I've connected with someone named Stephanie Beckerman. Sorry if I said your name wrong, Stephanie. But I've connected with her. She has helped me get the job that I need to survive out here. I've also I've connected with a few companies, and they are all awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And how do you want to kind of make change for the future? What do you want to change? What change do you want to see?
Systemic racism, systemic inequality, and its effects that it has in Chicago. I think that Chicago has a stigma of being just a rough city, a violent city. Anybody from Chicago that moves somewhere else is automatically a violent person. I've even experienced that coming to LA, especially with the way that I look, with the dreads and the tattoos, and the fact that I'm from Chicago, but I'm on the south side or the west side, I'm automatically a violent person. I want to be able to create a platform to go back home to change what happens in Chicago. Maybe I want to create an event or program where kids can learn more than they're being taught in school. Maybe I want to learn, maybe I want to create just an event where the adults can connect with their parents. Because me and my mom, we connect automatically. me and my mom were our parent. We be a package deal. It's just stuff like that, minimal changes that create a maximum impact.
Amazing. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man. See y'all later.
Yeah, Ray! Woo!
Next we have Moji. This is actually the first time I've ever met Moji in person. Hey Moji. She's incredible. Screenwriter, super talent. She's already going to crush it, I can tell. Moji, I'm going to get you to come over here, and then I'm just going to come stand to the side.
Hello, everyone.
We'll just start a little bit. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Moji Sola Inclusive. I was born in Houston, Texas. I was Bailey, Texas to be exact. I went to school and I graduated with a BS in Allied Health.
But when I was younger, I've always been in love with storytelling, writing, TV, and film. But I was told as a child that there's not really enough room for people like Black and brown people like me to be successful in that area. So that's what made me go and get a degree in allied health. So it really wasn't until my third year in school, I found myself just really overwhelmed, sad, depressed, taking all these OChem classes, biology classes, and I had a mentor at the time, and I'll never forget her. She told me, am I gonna keep continuing to live my life for other people, or am I gonna live my life for myself? So when she told me those words, I decided, although I'm gonna get this degree, after I get out, I'm gonna pursue what I wanna do, because it's no harm in trying. I don't wanna live life as the what ifs, like what if this happened, or what if I did this? So yeah, after school, I started to work at local TV stations in Houston, but there wasn't enough room to grow there. So I took a leap of faith and I moved over to LA in January 2019. And it was a big transition for me because I also have sickle cell disease. So I really need a support system to help me when I'm in the hospital. So I just had the confidence and I had the faith and I said, I have to do this, I have to go and get it. And that's what brought me to LA. And moving to LA was also challenging, of course, not having that support system and not really knowing a way to break into the industry. So I found myself doing little jobs. I did like food sampling just to pay the bill. And I found myself really lost until I met Creative Futures Collective. And I'm so grateful for my interview with Jai. Like, it just happened around the time where I was feeling low. And being a part of this program just really told me and showed me that I'm where I'm supposed to be and I will be successful if I continue to move towards my goal and never give up. I think I went a little bit more.
That's perfect. Thank you.
More.
I mean, yeah. What was one thing you took away from this experience?
I would say one thing I took away from this experience is perseverance. You know, I feel like perseverance is key in everything that you're doing, and also having that confidence in yourself. Because like life, I've learned this from my parents too, life doesn't have a straight path. Although you say you want to do this, like it's no like direction to get there, I would say. So sometimes you have your highs, sometimes you have your lows, but in that low, I've learned perseverance is what's going to get you through everything. And that's something that I really took away from Creative Futures Collective, and just keeping my confidence and having a support system. Because prior to this, I don't know anyone in California. I don't really have family in California. I didn't have anybody. So times where I was low, I couldn't really reach out to anybody because my family's in Texas. So having these workshops every Tuesday was just always a reassurance to me that Moji, you're in the right place. Everything is going to work out. So I would say that's what I take away.
And I should just say that, you've got us for life now. Yeah, none of us are going anywhere. Yeah, you're super talented. Your screenplay is incredible. I know Mel, I think, was sharing it with some people that she knows. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking to break into, some of your skills. Yeah.
So ideally, I'm looking to break into entertainment, TV and film. I love the art of storytelling. I've loved it since I was a little girl. I love watching particularly Nigerian movies and films, and I like African folklore. So my ideal goal is to break into TV and film and have some of my screenplays be brought to life. I'm also interested in production, pre-production, production, post-production. I know a little bit about the camera. I've done casting, location scouting, the whole nine. So breaking into TV and film is my goal, I would say.
Easy. And then, yeah, what change do you want to see in the world?
So something that really impacts me and I want to see change in the world is the systematic racism in healthcare, because that's something that I've experienced when I transitioned to the adult side of healthcare with sickle cell disease. So a little bit about sickle cell disease. It's a disease that primarily affects African Americans, and you have excruciating pain when you have these pain crises. So as I became an adult, it was more difficult to tell the doctors and nurses that I was in pain because they wouldn't believe me. And sometimes they thought I was just coming to the hospital to get free pain medicine, you know? And with sickle cell disease, it's not a lot of funding that goes towards it. So these people who have these pain crises have no choice but to use pain medicine. I've been kicked out of the hospital before when I couldn't walk because they didn't believe that I was in pain. And I've just seen so many things in the healthcare field. So that's something that's close to me since I've had it while I was born with it. And it's something that I would like to see change. And I've even started that while I was in school. I started a sickle cell program, focused for sickle cell. I brought it onto my campus at Texas A&M University, and also September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. I'll add that in there.
There you go. Well, Moji, thank you so much. And I can't believe this is the first time we met.
I know. I feel like I've seen everybody, even though like everything's virtual.
Well, I'll come out and say hello properly. Thank you so much for being, And like I said, this isn't the end, this is the beginning.
Yes.
As far as now everything's going okay, like, where are we going to get you a job? What's the next steps? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody.
Woo!
Katrina, good to see you. We'll hear you. All right. Next, another incredible young man, Douglas Jessup. I met Doug the same day I met Van at the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. Give a bit of background, give a bit of context. The way that we meet these incredible young talent fellows, as we call them, is through partnerships that we've set up with different non-profits around LA. So we kind of have an application process. We go out. Sometimes we go to the non-profits and we just kind of talk to their members and say, look, we've got this program. It's about finding opportunities for people that traditionally haven't had access to get into the creative industries. And we just fight for you, support you, and that's kind of it. And we met Anti-Recidivism Coalition, we met Van and Doug was someone else we met there that day. And just had fantastic energy about him, and it just applied and got in. So Doug, come and tell us a little bit about so I'm gonna back out of the camera. You just sort of just look at the camera here. What's your story, Doug?
Oh, hi everybody. So I'm Doug. I'm Doug Jessup. So my story, man, is I did 3 years unlawfully.
Doug, we love you, Doug!
So pretty much I did 3 years inside of prison unlawfully. I was incarcerated twice for that, and then I became the lead law clerk, and then I fought my case inside of there. My case I filed it in California Supreme Court. In Supreme Court, it went on bank, and essentially I walked out innocently, released through an appeal. I'm still dealing with different things inside of it, but that's kind of like what essentially set me up with Anti-Recidivism Coalition. Part of that coalition, where I'm a policy advocate inside of it. I'm a social justice advocate. I work with them, District Attorney Accountability Coalition, and just a whole bunch.
Tell us about something you took away from Creative Futures. Tell us about that.
So with Creative Futures, I think a lot, to be honest, a lot. Like a whole bunch of professionalism, networking, respecting people's time, like just all of that. There's just so much that I learned from this program and just from this cohort that I wouldn't have known anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like networking stuff, like it's cool like to know somebody, but you gotta like really know how to present value and just respect their time on top of it.
Tell us, what's the future look like for Doug? What do you want to break into? What do you want to do?
I want to get into the entertainment industry. So, from my story, when I was like before I was incarcerated, this like second time unlawfully, I just got a manager at Universal Music Group, and we met at rehab. And when we met at rehab, the courts took all of this away from me. They took away my trajectory in that, and from there, like, it's just been difficult. So I want to be able to break into the entertainment industry and then create like an agency where I can come back and just give back to the people and open up doors that just necessarily aren't open for other people. Because it's weird talking to this.
You can talk to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the reality is like people don't have, it's easy to look down on someone. When I came out of prison, I didn't have anything. I went straight to went straight to Skid Row. You know what I mean? And there was no welcoming we're getting. But there's a lot of people like me that don't have any type of chance, don't have any type of opportunity. And like this right here, Creative Futures, when it opens the door for something like that, it gives them some hope. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of what we're going through right now is becoming directly because people are just being, just inconsiderate of other people's situations. You know what I mean? I think by clipping other people's wings rather than just letting them go, we're holding society back in so many different ways. You know what I mean? Like when I was thrown in prison, the reason why they threw me in prison was because, oh, this guy's from poverty. Do you know what I mean? This guy like doesn't have a degree. You know what I mean? And then I went into there, became the lead law clerk, like took the test, got 100%. That showed them how much they knew. You know what I mean? And the fact is, it's just like, you wouldn't have been able to see that unless you took a second to come down and talk to me. Do you get what I mean? If you was able to come down and say, you know, what's going on in your life? Like, why are you the way you are? You would have been able to see all those different things. You know, and I think right now, especially with the political climate, social climate, there's such a cutting edge for organizations like this because it's going to put it in front. It puts you in front of everybody's discussions. Do you get what I'm saying? They're going to talk about, well, who is this person? And these are diamonds in the rough. You know what I mean? Like, everybody here is like diamonds in the rough, bro. You know, so.
I do know. And how do you want to use that to kind of, you know, give back to the next, you know, pull others up with you, I guess?
Mentorship. Yeah. Mentorship. I think for me, like when I was a law clerk too, man, like there's just a lot of broken souls. And it's not like they're not perfect, it's just that not everybody gets to pick their circumstances of born, period. You know what I mean? And as a child and when you're growing up, that makes a big difference. Do you know what I'm saying? It makes a big difference when nobody's caring about you and different things like that. So how I want to give back is I don't want to just open up opportunities. I want to like mentor in the same way. You know, it's like you don't have to choose drugs, bro. You don't have to go down here and do what everybody else is doing. You can actually be righteous and just live. You know what I mean? And then that's something else I'm learning through here, bro. Is the more people that you meet that are like really successful, they're actually down to earth, hardworking people. But TV teach you something else. TV teach you like you got to go out there and shoot people. You got to be like this and that, and like that's so false. Because who would want that type of individual around? You know, but people coming from like the hoods and different things like I do, bro, we don't know that. Do you understand? There's no way how we know that. We're seeing something entirely different. You know what I mean? So I think for me in the future, what's really important is to not only stay true, but to be more compassionate of both sides. Do you know what I'm saying? Of coming from where I come from, poverty, but also in the more privileged areas too. Because who am I going to be like going up to somebody in privilege telling them you're stupid because you ain't been through what I've been through? You know what I mean? So it takes a whole, like, me just to be just wise. Do you know what I mean? Wise and not just, and putting other people first and just being of service. Like, yo, how can I help you out? How can I contribute to the team? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, when it comes to the day where it's like it's about me, then it'll still be about you. You know what I mean? It just makes me feel better about it, bro. Absolutely, man.
It's been a pleasure, and it's not the end, and I'll chat with you outside when you're out here.
Hey, yeah.
Doug. Next we have Angela Davis, the younger sister of Dominique Davis.
Woo! That's my sister!
Quick one on Dominique. She just got a job. I think I gave you the best reference ever. I was like, if you don't get a job, it's something. But Dominique just took on a job at the Bail Project. Yeah. Incredible organization, providing bail to people that can't afford it, which is one of the reasons why the criminal justice system is in the way it is, and the prisons are full. There are people that are in prison, they're incarcerated, they have never even been trial, that have never been found guilty because they can't afford $500 of bail. So Bail Project here to save that. And honestly, I hadn't heard much about it, and after the call, which was Dominique's reference, I kind of went and had a look on there, and I'm like, advisory boards like John Legend, Richard Branson. I'm like, okay, this must be pretty legit. So yeah, congrats Dominique, we're stoked for you. Always a superstar. And Angela, is her younger sister and an incredible artist. And yeah, I'm going to get you to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, what's up? Hey, I'm Angela. From South LA for the most part, my whole life. Growing up from everywhere from Inglewood all the way up and through South Central, up into downtown LA. I've been an artist since I could crawl. Actually, my sister was a big inspiration in becoming an artist. That's why I'm left-handed. I've always wanted to do things differently. I always wanted to do things that help me find ways to express myself to the most people that I could. So I love my community. My name is Angela Davis, so that definitely helped inspire me in loving my community so much. And my whole life, I've given name after name after name, oh, but you must be so rebellious and all this other things, and must be so extroverted, because you're named after a speaker for political activism and civil rights. And so growing up in my neighborhood, Crenshaw District, most of my life, it was really awesome to be able to see so many artists on the streets, blown up on the walls. But I never really got into graffiti like that because it stayed in my little book. Most of the time, I was painting or drawing in class, and my teachers would basically just let me because I was good. And the better and better I got, the more I was able to just continue to reach people. People would see my work. People would be so excited and inspired. People started asking me for lessons in the library during their break from school. So it started to teach me that school doesn't necessarily give you the opportunity to express yourself as much as you would like. Even though I went to schools outside of our neighborhood where I did get more art classes, because my mom saw that was my passion, that was my drive. I didn't want to do anything but art. So for the most part, I just kept going with that and got into different programs that were creatively inspiring and communally inspiring. That just gave me some platform so that I could express myself to people that I felt could relate, or to people that couldn't relate at all, and they needed to see where we're coming from.
Tell us a bit about the work you're doing when we met, bringing the art classes to the community.
Great. I love doing art with communities in my school. Mostly I went to because I went to Palms Middle School. So I was in Cohort City, just up the street, and I was connected through some of my peers' parents to an independent organization called Cornucopia. It's an after-school program that's in 3 different elementary schools. The last I was teaching was at El Marino, El Rincon, and Linwood Howe Elementary. And the kids, they just love it. They love having ability to express themselves through different characters, and I totally keep them at front of in charge. It's a democracy in my classroom. We vote on what it is that we're going to draw, and we make sure that all the ideas are open to interpretation, and that people can get inspired. It's not copying, it's inspiration. And they just started to see their ability to create their own books, because I had them put books together in portfolios at the end to kind of help give them some of the introduction to where I was in school at Santa Monica College, building portfolios and keeping mirrors of my work.
Amazing. What's something you took away? What's something you learned from this program?
Probably the number one thing from this program that I've learned is that your community around you, there's so many different people who have a passion for similar things, and that drive can be brought together. And through that drive being brought together, you can also form that network. That network is a net. That's why it's called a net.
And what's your future look like? What do you want to do?
Well, so for me personally, I do feel like because I've been introduced to as many people who started from the bottom and then they work their way up to they know so many people through this networking process, creatively as well, they can still form like a collective. So I want to start an art collective for South Central goers or citizens and people who are not given the opportunities to create art in school. Like most of the schools in South Central have cut out art from most of the schools in LA, USD, cut out art as an elective. And that was kind of the only thing that ever even kept me looking up to any adults. Like I didn't want to listen unless I was doing something in school that did have something creative to do. So I just want to be able to provide that room for expression in places that people are not heard.
Well, thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you so much. Thanks for providing.
That's my sister.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Of course. I'll see you out there.
Okay.
Next we have Gary. Welcome, sir. First time meeting you as well.
Yes.
Gary sent me a reel when he applied of some animation that he's a video game animator. And it was so incredible. I sent it straight away to some people at like TreeWorks and some places to get some feedback. And I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to go on to do whether it's video game or I guess like studio animation. It's really your choice. So Gary, come in please. But, incredible talented. Gary, tell us a little bit about your story.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Gary Tucker, and my story. I'm an animator, and I've been wanting to be an animator since the middle school. Middle school, I've been screaming that I'm going to be an animator and going to make my own show. And I've been working since then. Towards that goal, I wasn't able to get into any art schools. They were my high school, for art. So I went to the local library and studied. Went to college, got to an animation study, and then I graduated and went to LA for my first animation job. Actually, funny story, if I can dive into it.
Sure.
I was working as a QA tester and that job was ending, and I took up the animation job, even though it was a pay cut, and I took it because I just wanted to be an animator so bad. And I don't regret it one bit, and life has been great since. And I got to meet Creative Futures. How has Creative Futures impacted me? Creative Futures has empowered me because it showed me the value of my own story, and that I feel that's priceless because that's something I never took time to look at and acknowledge. And what am I going to do in the future? I'm studying augmented reality right now, and I think it's phenomenal technology. And all I really wanted to stay there and make a big impact on the world with it. So I want to go back home to Chicago. I want to make as many augmented reality apps as possible. And by the time I'm done, I want it to be known as like the augmented reality city. And I feel like that would be leaving a mark on the world. And then, if that doesn't work, go back to the drawing board, learn something new, try again, and just keep on going.
Outside of augmented reality, if someone was to throw a job at you today, is it still video games or is it animation?
Definitely video games. I love all of this technology. Honestly, I'm overwhelmed. I can't get enough.
And how can you use your talent to help future generations?
To help future generations.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I can guide them. I know that I can, for someone else in my students who wants to be an animator or to make games, I can save them a good 17 steps.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Gary. I'm going to chat with you outside because, I haven't met you yet.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like I have because I see you every Tuesday. Is Tiffany on?
Hi.
Hey, okay. So Tiffany, I know I say everyone's incredible because they are, So not
That's my girlfriend. Okay. Bye.
Is not in the room with us today, but she's with us in spirit. Incredible story, incredible talented. She's already been having a bunch of job interviews that have come through here in the last couple of weeks, and no doubt she's going to land somewhere, and that company is going to be very, 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 very lucky. So, Tiffany, with that, yeah, you want to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Jai. Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Porter. I'm a 26-year-old Filipina, and all my life I've been an outsider. So I was born in Manila. I grew up near Dubai, and I immigrated to America with my family before my 10th birthday. And like many Asian immigrants in America, I've struggled with a duality of balancing my cultural values from my homeland and assimilating to an American system that's unequal. And also, as an immigrant, I've struggled with just the cultural barriers across intergenerational stigmas and systemic barriers within Asians in Hollywood. And it's 2020. I'm ready to change that. So I'm ready to change that by calling out intergenerational stigmas when I see them, and by walking into executive rooms that need voices like mine, because they need voices like mine. And so I'm ready to break into the entertainment industry, specifically film, as a writer and producer who aims to integrate and amplify Asian voices across Hollywood.
Amazing. And you're going to do it very, very soon. Tiffany, what's something you took away from Creative Futures?
My biggest takeaway from Creative Futures was honestly the wholesome environment. Actually, a day after Jai, when we had our first interview in February, when I was getting to know Creative Futures, the day after our interview, my grandma passed away. And then March 17, the original start date for this cohort, that was 2 days after her funeral. So, and then you cue in COVID and mental health, and it's been, if it wasn't for Creative Futures in this historic pandemic, I would be in a much darker headspace. So I cannot thank you enough, and Marky and Yanni, just for cultivating a safe space for me and the fellows. I'm so grateful that I feel that for the first time in years since moving out to LA, that I'm in a very safe space. So thank you.
Thank you. And tell us about, what the future holds for you. What do you want to do? You said entertainment, you said film. Yeah, specifically, like what experience have you had, and yeah, what are you looking to do?
Yes, so I studied screenwriting when I was in university, and when I was in university, I also got to network quite a bit across town. I'm the kind of person that I don't approach a challenge by asking myself, what's the easiest route? I ask myself the question, what do I want to learn more about? And right now, with Hollywood fast evolving, I'm ready to learn this business from the ground up. Specifically, I'm ready to learn how distribution will go about, not just amplifying independent features, but also integrating more of international stories that are so absent from the American mainstream culture. My versatile resume, I have had a lot of office experiences, from being an assistant to talent managers, to being digital marketing director's assistants, to even being in corporate secretarial sectors. And I've also been a working actor who knows what it's like to get to the audition, and I've known the hustle of being a PA on set. But at home, I'd say my home base for me would be learning the pre-production and the production aspects in Hollywood. And I'm also quite open to contributing in writers' rooms and content development as well, because my home base for me, like for me to help integrate and amplify Asian voices across Hollywood, I would love to start with that and go towards my end goal as a writer and producer, having that platform.
And yeah, what kind of, I know you mentioned wanting to amplify more Asian voices, but systemic inequality that exists not just in Hollywood but in the world. What do you want to change?
Oh my goodness, I just want to change. I really want to help change the discrepancy of how people are getting paid, especially. I know there's a huge gender gap. I also want to change how there's such a very strong gatekeeper attitude towards a lot of the systemic infrastructures. Like, I cannot count how many times as both a working actor and both as a job candidate where I've walked into offices, I've walked into studios, and I count the faces in a room and none of them look like me. And I want to change that so that one day, hopefully, if I'm in that office and I see a minority come in, I will see her. That's what I want to change.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank
you. But yeah, like I keep saying, this isn't the end. You're going to keep getting weekly emails from me about, yeah, these opportunities that are just, you know, going to open up. And like I was saying before to everyone, you know, it really has been kind of this post-George Floyd world we live in that has made companies step up. But again, it's not about the charitable aspect of it, right? It's about
Absolutely.
something that brings you into their building is a lucky organization. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, that's kind of all the fellow stories. Duncan, just quickly, yeah, it's still on Tiffany. Does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties. Spotlight video. Boom. Back. But yeah, with that, I just want to kind of thank everyone. Sorry we didn't do the full 2 hours. There's some food waiting out there for me. But no, seriously, everyone, thank you so much. This has been weird, but I think it's been awesome. And we have a really inspiring group of people, and we want to keep working with them and see what the future holds. But like I said to everyone, it doesn't end today, it actually starts, and I'll kind of paint a little picture for everyone before we sign off. But basically, you know, COVID's forced us to take this online, but we were always planning on going online because we knew that currently last 2 years we've been doing this in LA, and not everyone is fortunate enough. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone that comes through our program is from privilege, it's actually quite the opposite, but not fortunate enough to be geographically located in a city like LA, right? So the opportunities exist for people in the city to join a program like ours. And, you know, that was one of the reasons why we reached out to social works. I mean, the reason was honestly was I was watching that, sorry Essence, I've read the show, the hip hop show on Netflix with Chance and T.I. and Cardi B, Rhythm and Flow. I think it's that. But I was watching that and I was just kind of seeing Chance on screen and I was like, this guy looks like, yeah, he just, a lot of empathy there. You could tell that he was genuinely into the music and into the stories and just helping people. And then I did some research, saw social works, and quickly got an intro. But one of the reasons was, yeah, not everyone's geographically located in LA. So we always wanted to be like, how can we expand what we do? So next year, when we launch the next cohort, we're going from 10 fellows to 100. All virtual, and we not just LA, but we're going LA, we're going Chicago, we're going Atlanta, we're going New York, and we're also going to work with an Indigenous community that has 0 opportunities. So yeah, that's going to be, you know, February 21, 100 fellows coming through the program. So if anyone is out there that works at a company that wants to provide futureships, which is our name for an internship, we need bulk. So we need big organizations or small organizations to help fill these. So look, offices aren't open next year, so they're all going to be remote. But yeah, we're really ramping this up next year. So 100 fellows, February 21. And the other thing I want to mention, I'm going to send everyone an email after this with a link, but we launched a publication today called The Narrative. And essentially what that is we have, I mean, you heard some of the stories today, and you heard certain parts of the stories, but you didn't hear the whole story. And that's really for our fellows to share. They're not our stories to tell. So what we did is with the help of John Rodriguez, I don't know if John is here. John was one of our former fellows, alumni from our last cohort last year. But yeah, we launched a platform called The Narrative, which is essentially a media publication with stories told by our fellows. So our fellows get to share their stories or share their insights or share their creativity, talk about what's happening in their communities. And then it's a platform for for our fellows to kind of share their story. So we just launched that today. And when I say launch, I just clicked publish. So no one knows about it. But I'm really excited for it. I think just giving a platform to our fellows, and as we grow as an organization and we get bigger reach and we get bigger platform, you know, the opportunity becomes bigger for the fellows. So I'm really excited by that. And I'm just excited for everything, to be honest. This has been awesome. So, yep, thank you everyone. Thank you, Duncan. You're gonna see how it's all lights and everything going on. It's all Duncan. So, yeah, thank you everybody. Have a good night. And yeah, love you all. Thanks.
Thanks, Jai. Well
Thanks,
done,
Jai.
man.
Thanks, Jai. Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks, Jai.
Well done, everyone. Congratulations.